Hello and welcome to Backyard Food Guide. What I'd like to do today is to talk about the top 10 beneficial bugs for your vegetable garden. And some of these will be quite familiar to you, others I think will be quite surprising. The first and probably one of the most important bugs to have in your garden would be the bee. The bumblebees, honeybees, many different kinds serve as important pollinators, and in fact many of our plants and vegetables can't even reproduce without their hard work. So definitely being able to attract bees into your garden would be an advantage. Number 2, earthworms. Earthworms are critical in providing valuable nutrients into the soil and aerating the soil as well. There are a number of ways to attract earthworms, and by making sure you have a healthy soil and adding compost and preparing your soil well, especially at the end of a garden season, could put you in very good standing with earthworms for the spring. Once fall comes, I will have a video on how to overwinter your soil so that it'll be ready for the spring. Number 3 would be the ladybug. Ladybugs, not only are they beautiful, but they are voracious eaters of aphids. In fact, one ladybug can eat 50 to 60 aphids per day, and that would mean about 5,000 aphids in their lifetime. So they're very efficient hunters of aphids, and not only aphids, but they'll eat mealyworms and mites that could potentially chow down on your vegetables. Also, ladybug larvae don't harm plants, and they are attracted by dill and fennel. So you can either purchase ladybugs at the beginning of the season to release into your garden, or if you plant some dill or fennel, they're quite attracted to those particular herbs as well. Number 4 on my list would be the BRACONID wasp. These wasps are interesting in that they attach their larvae to tomato hornworms, and their larvae will actually eat the hornworms from the inside out. And these wasps have a pretty significant impact in your garden in that one wasp can lay 50 to 400 eggs. So that would mean getting rid of a lot of these really harmful kinds of hornworms. The wasps will also eat aphids, caterpillars, and flies. What's also interesting for most of us who are afraid of being stung by wasps is that the BRACONID wasps tend not to sting unless they have to. So very similar to bumblebees, they won't easily sting or be terribly aggressive, and they also like nectar-producing plants. So anything with small flowers will attract them into your yard as well. Number 5 on my list would be the ground beetle. These beetles will eat a lot of the bugs that are on the ground, including slugs, snails, cutworms, and caterpillars. And in fact, one beetle can eat 50 caterpillars in a day. So they are definitely advantageous to have in the garden, and they won't damage your crops at the same time. Number 6 on the list would be the green lacewings. These are very pretty flying insects. In fact, they're aptly named in that their wings look like translucent lace, and they can eat a lot of aphids, whiteflies, leafhoppers, and mealybugs. So similar to ladybugs, they're also attracted by herbs like dill, and cilantro can be very helpful in attracting them as well. Next on the list would be the damsel bugs. The damsel bug will eat caterpillars, mites, aphids, cabbage worms, and they're attracted by herbs like spearmint, peppermint, and fennel. Next on the list would be soldier beetles. These soldier beetles will eat grasshopper eggs, aphids, and soft-shelled insects. They are very beneficial to have in the garden, and they are attracted by flowers like marigolds, zinnias, and linden trees. Number 9 on the list is the praying mantis. These beautiful creatures will eat voraciously caterpillars, moths, beetles, and crickets. They often like tall grass, so if you have a wild yard area, that's often where they like to live. But you can also attract them with herbs like dill and flowers like marigolds. And then number 10 on the list would be the beneficial nematodes. These are microscopic roundworms, and they act as parasites to kill insects. So because they're so small, they end up inside harmful insects in the garden, and they release a bacteria that will kill the insects. So often gardeners can even buy different kinds of nematodes to apply in their garden. They come in liquid form, and you could spray them into your garden. Many of them are specialized, so if there are particular kinds of bugs that you're trying to get rid of, please check with your gardening store which kind of nematode would be best to use. It takes about 2 weeks for them to do their job, and they tend to go after ground insects. So they tend to go after insects that are harmful, and they don't seem to go after things like ladybugs. So if you've introduced ladybugs in your garden and you want to try introducing beneficial nematodes, it's okay to do that as well. So by encouraging diversity in our gardens, it means that it allows us to not use harmful chemicals, pesticides in our garden. And in fact, as we know, pesticides in vegetable gardening can end up hurting us as well. And of course, in effect, they kill more than just the insects that you don't like. As you can see by this list, if you're using pesticides, you can end up killing very beneficial companion insects as well. So I hope this was a useful video. Please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you very much.